When Deus Ex Human Revolution released in 2011, it successfully introduced a new vision for the dormant franchise, and its special blend of stealth, action, and RPG mechanics. With its sequel, Mankind Divided, due out early next year, Eidos Montreal invited us up to their studio to talk with the team and get our first hands-on with the game. However, due to limited footage, we can only show you so much of what we got to play.
We are human beings.
Mankind Divided starts in 2029, 2 years after the previous game. The world's love affair with augmentation has turned sour. Those who have enhanced their bodies with mechanical implants are being rounded up and segregated. There's enormous distrust on both sides, and this change in tone is not only stated through dialogue, but represented visually as well.
So in Human Revolution, it's all about the golden age of transhumanism and the thing that we kind of invented, the cyber renaissance. So this time around, to contrast it, right? It's all about the medieval era. So there was a real foundation to the black and gold direction, again tied to the cyber renaissance. But this time around, because there's this pull back into the, we don't care about this knowledge anymore. Fuck it. It gets desaturated a lot, right? Because again, if you look at the medieval era, you get the stone, you get the fortifications, you get all that, you get the whole medieval picture in your head, and you're like, yeah, it's kind of like blue and brown and gray. But this being said, this palette is there a lot whenever the transhumanism or the transhumanist ideals are losing ground or have lost ground. And whenever they're either gaining ground back or they're just there. Example, when you go into the Gollum city, like one of the ghettos where all the augmented people are at, it's like they're maintaining their culture, so the black and gold is there. And again, it's an analogy. It's not like a conscious thing, but in the game, it's a language.
Dr. Talos Rucker, the leader of ARC, posted a letter condemning the attack.
In the midst of this political turmoil, Adam Jensen has to find a new place to use his skills. No longer the head of security for Seraph Industries, he now serves as the only augmented operative on an Interpol task force, a position that gives him a solid chance to uncover the Illuminati's secrets.
The famous tagline, "I never asked for this." I think this is the big difference right now. It's not anymore, please go there and check this. It's gonna be much more, okay, I have my personal agenda and I really want to find out what's going on here. He's gonna have a kind of a double agent aspect in the title.
Here in Dubai, we wanted to establish like where Jensen was after the events of the AUG incident. He's at a different point in his life. He's part of this task force. And we wanted to convey that to players right away in terms of the empowerment of having an augmented Jensen and having access to a lot of augmentations. And then other things will happen later on to play around with that and give back the control fully in players' hands.
This initial mission in a derelict Dubai hotel is where we got our first hands-on with Mankind Divided. Jensen's team is assigned to protect an undercover operative who's meeting up with an arms dealer selling military-grade augmentations. This level also serves as a tutorial, teaching the player basics like grabbing ledges, punching through walls, and using smart vision, but even here, there are alternate paths to take. No matter what you do, though, the deal turns south when a third group appears on the scene just as a sandstorm begins to rip through the hotel. This group of highly augmented militants pins down your agent, and in the low visibility and chaos, you're left feeling the pressure to grab a gun and go lethal in order to save him. This choice and your ability to succeed definitely feel like they'll have repercussions.
Any decision will have a consequence, and this time you won't be able just to save and come back a few minutes before to see what if I do that or that. Think twice, because any choices, maybe a couple of hours later you will say, oh, okay, I did this and now I see a consequence. If you are that type of guy that you don't give a shit about your partner, he's gonna probably die and that's it, or no, you're not that human being, so play like you want.
Just like in Human Revolution, before you're deployed to this first mission, you'll choose whether to go in lethal or non-lethal with short-range or long-range weapons. However, while many believed that stealth was always the best path in the previous game, Eidos Montreal is trying to make combat feel equally rewarding in Mankind Divided.
So, if you feel as a player that the game is reacting better in stealth, for Jean-François is a fail. you should not have this feeling. If you're more a kind of aggressive player, you should feel that the player will, not the player, the game will give you the maximum. So that's why we decided to keep the stealth mechanic really, really, tight, well done, and, push a little bit the combat to have it on par.
That doesn't mean that you can simply run around a level praying and spraying. You'll have to think somewhat tactically to avoid being overwhelmed, and at least at first, ammo feels somewhat scarce, making each shot count. However, there is more emphasis on customizing your weapons, and alternate ammo, like armor-piercing rounds, is essential if you want to send a hefty robot to the scrapyard.
I'm dug in! No way I'm following you, Yobo!
The team really liked, what was done stealth-wise in Human Revolution, and I think one of the first things that the team identified that they wanted to push further was the cover system to make it maybe a little bit more versatile, and that's been actually a huge system that we're still working on.
So far, the cover interface feels slick and intuitive, making it easy to go from cover to cover and navigate corners. It gives you more satisfying opportunities to become a predator and allows you to focus on finding openings to cross a room undetected. Assisting you in that, of course, are Jensen's augmentations, which are now easier to access as you can pull them up on a wheel menu and assign them to hotkeys on the controller. With the left bumper and the crosspad all serving as custom slots for your augmentations, you can instantly access 5 abilities at any given time. Another thing that's been tweaked is the battery system, which dictates how much you can use your augs. Instead of being divided chunk by chunk, your energy meter essentially operates on 2 layers. Some abilities will temporarily drain energy while active, but allow it to recharge when you turn them off, while others will fully drain a portion of your energy, leaving you with less to work with until it's restored by using a consumable biocell.
We wanted to find a middle ground where where players could still have quite a lot of access to their augmentations and use them a lot, but not create a situation of overpowerness. So some really strong augmentations only have depletion, an activation cost, and others have a smaller activation cost and then a cost over time, and then that cost over time actually gets regenerated. So you can use those augmentations with more frequency, and then something like the Titan, which is just so powerful, actually just drains the battery flat.
One detail we certainly appreciate is that, like the Titan, Smart Vision quickly sucks your battery dry, so you can't spend the whole game simply looking through walls with color-coded lenses. You have to use it sparingly and strategically. For the second level of our hands-on demo, we were able to try 3 different character builds. The stealth setup gave us access to the aforementioned Smart Vision, as well as abilities to cloak and silence our footsteps. It feels great to go invisible when moving from cover to cover right in front of the guards. This build also included the Tesla, a wrist-mounted stun gun that uses its own ammo but is fired from one of your augmentation hotkeys, so you can use it without having to swap out your main weapon. With this setup, we also had high-level hacking skills, allowing us to enter through locked security doors and get into terminals to shut down cameras. We've always appreciated the strategy and decision-making in the minigame for Human Revolution, and we're glad to see that the basics are essentially the same in Mankind Divided. Sometimes hacking nodes are hidden behind a fog of war, making it tougher to pre-plan a route through the system, and attempting to capture certain nodes will sometimes trigger hidden tripwires, immediately activating the security. We were able to use the remote hacking to temporarily shut down cameras and bots, but the mechanics for this system are much simpler. Our goal with the stealth build was to make it through the level without alerting any guards, but with the combat loadout, we were focused on raising the body count, admittedly just to search their corpses for interesting loot. A shotgun allowed us to do just that, and we also spread havoc with grenades and proximity mines. And an upgrade to the nanoblade lets you silently launch it from your arm, pinning your victim's body to the wall. It's a satisfying mechanic, and it can serve as a great lure to distract other guards as well. The flashiest new combat skill is the Titan, a hardened shell that covers Jensen and absorbs damage, providing a safety net if you get in over your head. It's a great way to get out of trouble, and it's also one of the most visually interesting abilities, so we asked the art director what went into its design.
The Titan shield, to me, is the epitome of what the franchise is, aesthetically speaking. First of all, yeah, it's triangular. Cool. But yeah, it's geometrical, it's fractal, it's slick. So the guys together, they've worked really hard. It's a super advanced piece of technology. And I don't mean in the lore. I mean really making it happen in the game. There's close to a whole full year of work of graphic coding behind that. So iterations, tons of it. you know, how we wanted it to react, how we wanted it to appear on Adam, behave once it's on him, the fact that you get shot and you see these little things spread, and you even see him, you know, under, you know, behind the Titan. It got to a point where emulating it with our CGI, our pre-rendered CGI stuff, you know, was hard sometimes. You know, it has so, you know, many little subtle behaviors within its high-level behavior that, you know, telling our CGI partners sometimes to replicate it was a challenge for them. So that, I think that is a great testament to how pretty kick-ass it is in the game.
The final build we got to try was the balanced loadout, which not only represented players who want to mix it up, but featured some extra abilities too. The PEPS returns, letting you knock enemies back with the non-lethal pressure wave, and like the Tesla, it doesn't take up a weapon slot. There's also a non-lethal version of the Typhoon, which fires gas grenades, and there's the Icarus Dash, which behaves somewhat like the Blink ability in Dishonored.
We want to cater to different play styles. So something like the Icarus Dash, you could be very offensive with it, and you can actually like, smash into people and do that. But you can really use it as a tool for exploration and access to pipes and ledges, and you know, or you can use it for stealth, and you can dash from cover to cover, or from a second floor straight down into cover, and tuck into another cover, and just flow through the map really stealthily as well.
That flow, however, isn't quite there yet. Trying to target the exact point we wanted to dash to was tricky, especially when trying to reach higher ground. Plus, it wasn't always clear how far a dash will take you, and we targeted a nearby rooftop only to comically dash to a space between the buildings, falling to the street below. But of course, there's still months left for the system to be improved. In terms of level design, Eidos Montreal has always emphasized the value of giving players multiple routes and multiple solutions to a situation, and they're looking to take that concept even further than the previous Deus Ex.
I have not seen him do that in weeks.
And in Mankind Divided, we wanted to emulate more what was started, like in the police station in HR or areas like that. So having these mini compounds that are actually more circular and that are more readable from an architectural point of view, and they're integrated in the environment in the ways that you can imagine life going on there while you're not there. Okay, in a theater, I can anticipate that this balcony is probably connected to some stairs, probably even if I can't see them, and you can start projecting some of your natural real-world knowledge of environment inside the game.
The Diwali Theater level we played through in Prague has multiple routes and entry points every step along the way. An alley to the left takes you up to the rooftops where you can eliminate a sniper and enter through a skylight. A path to the right takes you through some of the most disgusting bathrooms ever seen and leads to the back of the building where you can break through a weakened wall to access a service corridor. Or, if you're good at slipping past the guards, you can enter through a ground floor window and get straight into a security office. Once inside the lobby, you can enter the auditorium from the ground floor and access a somewhat hidden route upstairs to get to the balcony. And likewise, there are several ways to get past the guards in the theater and gain access to the dressing rooms downstairs. After playing through it 6 or 7 times, we thought we knew every corner of the map, but after a break, we went back to find even more spots that we'd missed. What we haven't seen much of yet is the world beyond combat zones, where people live and interact. But based on the strength of the environmental storytelling in Human Revolution, we have high expectations for what's still to come.
Whenever an environment is important based on either a character or a context or a big part of the narrative, they become little, like I said, mini museums. What we're doing now is all these little final things, like in Adam's apartment, you had his little get well cards, because he had just been out of his recovery from his operation and stuff like that, and it was like the half-emptied cereal bowls and all the cereal boxes and his little books on how to live with your OGs. And this is what we're doing now, and that's a lot of work. It's not what the concept artists love doing the most, obviously. Like doing newspaper articles and doing a little illustration for picture frames or stuff like that, but it's the game wins so much out of that afterward.
Deus Ex: Mankind Divided doesn't release until next February, but if the entire game lives up to what we've played so far, it seems to offer players enormous freedom and replayability. From the decisions you make in the story, the augmentations and skills you invest in, and your approach to navigating complex levels, there's a lot to experiment with, and we're excited to dig deeper.